Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Mindful Homestead. My name is Jack, and today we're going to talk about solar generators and what they're good for. This right here is a Coleman PowerMate generator. It's 6250 surge watts, 5000 running watts. It's 10 horsepower with a Subaru motor on it. It's over 20 years old at this point, and it's been our go-to source of power whenever the lights go out here on the homestead. See, we are the last house on the line, the power line that comes up. You can see way down the end of the driveway we have a power pole, and then it's buried up to the house, but that is the end of the power line for this area. We're the last ones. So when the power goes out, we lose it. And if it goes out in multiple places, we're the last ones to get it back. So over the last few years, we've developed quite a relationship with this guy. I can't really fault this generator at all. It's run flawlessly since we bought the place in 2016 and my parents gave it to us. They owned it before me. And I'm pretty sure my dad has done absolutely zero maintenance on it when he owned it. So the fact that I gave it an oil change last year and it still runs great, it works awesome for me. I'm not going to say anything bad about it. It's got 4 110 outlets on it. It's got a 110 volt 30 amp plug, a couple of circuit breakers. But other than that, that's all it's got. And when the power goes out, we use this to power the 3 freezers we have in the basement, the refrigerator freezer we have upstairs in the kitchen, and usually we'll hook it up to the living room where we've got the TV, the router, and basically, we can make it hospitable for us to hang out in one room of the house with electricity, maybe watch a movie, watch a show, and kind of ride out the power outage that way. This right here is a 14 watt super quiet inverter generator from Harbor Freight. We bought this one for the Homesteaders of New England Fall Gathering last September, which we're going to be hosting again. I'll put a link in the description for that. But we used this over the course of 2 days to power the speaker tent, the TV, the PA system, any computers or anything else that were in there that the speakers needed for their presentations. This thing is a lot smaller and a lot quieter than the Coleman generator that you see below it. The downside to something like this is it's pretty expensive. You're talking $700 or $800 for a generator like that below, almost $500 for this in today's market. And you're not getting as much power, 1400 watts versus 5000 watts. Definitely a difference there. This is not going to power everything we want it to inside the house. There's a couple of problems that exist for both of these though. One, portability. Obviously the Predator is going to be more portable than the Coleman underneath it. You could throw both of them in the bed of a truck, but you're talking over 100 pounds for the Coleman and I think 40 pounds for this Predator right here. They're not the lightest weight things on the planet. Second, they're loud. If I had the PowerMate going right now out here, I wouldn't even be able to talk to the camera next to it. I'd have to be standing way over there for you guys to be able to hear me. The Predator, on the other hand, even in super quiet mode, it is more quiet than the Coleman. We used it to film all of the speakers at Homesteaders of New England last year, and if you watch any of that footage, you can definitely still hear it in the background.
So these are ways where instead of trying to sell your neighbors quail eggs and they're going to go, those are just tiny eggs that are more expensive than regular eggs.
The third and biggest problem with both of these, in my personal opinion, from a preparedness standpoint, is that they run on gasoline. See, here's the thing. In a true oh crap scenario, I guess is what I'll say.
We're preparing for the collapse
of the world's agricultural system.
Gasoline is going to be in short supply. Just look at any time a tornado has hit somewhere, a hurricane hits somewhere or is planning to hit somewhere, major winter storms, your gas stations run out of gasoline, and if you're going to rely on gasoline as your power source, you'd better have it stocked up or stockpiled. And let's be honest, it's not the safest thing to store on the face of the planet. You could put, like 10 gallons in gas cans and have that, but if you're putting 55-gallon drums of gas in your garage, kind of waiting for an accident, especially if there's a fire. Enter this little guy, the Bluetti EB3A. The EB3A is a 600 watt solar generator. Compared to these two units that you see here, which are both very obviously generators, the EB3A is kind of a hybrid of a couple different things. I don't know if I would necessarily call the unit by itself a generator because it doesn't generate any of its own power. It's essentially a battery bank with an inverter built in, so you're able to get a variety of different outlets on the front so that you can charge or use a bunch of different devices, whether they're USB powered, 12 volt powered, or all the way up to 110 volt like the standard plug you would put in your wall. Up on the top here, it's even got a wireless charging pad for your devices that can charge wirelessly. The power output on this thing is 600 watts, so substantially lower overall than the Predator here. But 600 watts, as far as small devices, it's more than enough. It's actually plenty. So when I look at this sort of thing and I say, well, where does it fit into a standard homestead situation? For those power outages where I don't suspect that we're going to be without power for very long, or it's, you know, the power goes out right around bedtime and my phone has been discharged throughout the course of the day and I need to charge it, this is where this comes in perfectly. It's already charged, it's ready to go. Jackie and I can plug our phones into it and go to sleep. Another thing I tested was I plugged the electric fence charger for our chickens out back into this unit and let it sit in the garage where the power strip is to see how it would work. Over the course of a couple hours in the sub-freezing weather that we're having right now, this thing only discharged a few percent, meaning I have no doubts that this thing could charge the chicken electric fence for 2 days or more. Honestly, those situations where portability is key, they really play an important role in a homestead when you're looking at power generation. Here's the thing. I'm not going to run an extension cord from this generator all the way out back to the chicken coop just to plug in the electric fence there. I could run something like this back there, but because of the portability of this design and the small size of the gas tank, and because of how quiet it is, if this thing was to run out overnight while I was sleeping, I would have no way of knowing. And once it ran out and I was still happily asleep in slumberland, there's no battery backup on this thing to keep it going until the morning when I wake up to get out there. The Bluetti, on the other hand, I know that the battery is going to last long enough for this thing to keep a chicken electric fence charger going through the night. Rather than get this thing fueled up, set it up, plug it in, turn it on, it's just as simple as walking outside with this thing, plugging in the chicken fence, tucking this inside the door of the garage, and not worrying about it until the following morning. And you might be saying, well, Jack, that's all well and good that it can keep my chicken fence going and it can charge a cell phone and a laptop, but what if I need some real power out of that thing?
Why are you talking like that?
Why are you talking like that?
Because this is my voice?
This is my voice.
This has a pretty cool technology built into it that Bluetti is calling Power Lift. And it's a setting on your phone. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. It's Bluetooth enabled, so you actually connect this thing to your phone and you can control it with your phone. So even if I was worried about it running out of battery on the chicken fence out back, I could actually just pull up my phone from my bedside table and check the status of this as long as I was within 60 feet. Anyway, Power Lift on this thing. Power Lift is a setting that you can turn on where it will actually essentially double the wattage of this unit up to 1200 watts max. It's not a true doubling of the wattage, and I don't know exactly how it works, but I'm gonna cut in some video here of an experiment I did with the toaster oven this morning, which I know is more than 600 watts. We're gonna try toast. This is gonna be testing the Power Lift function of this Bluetti. Basically, it's rated for 600 watts of output, but if you put it in Power Lift mode, it goes up to 1200 simulated. It's still only putting out 600 watts, but it's essentially kind of, I don't know how it works, but it gives you the ability to run non-smart devices. So like just a straight up heating element like this toaster. There's nothing digital in it. It's just straight mechanical stuff. It's not going to run a refrigerator. It's not going to run a microwave. It's not going to run anything with like computer circuitry, but this crappy toaster here, it will probably run. So we're going to try it. I've got a couple pieces of the heel of this bread that Jackie left me, and we're going to fire it up and see what happens. All right, so let's plug this in. Let's turn that on. plug it in. I'm going to turn on power lifting on the app, and it gives you the warning. All right, power lifting is on. And let's go. So right away, this wattage cranks up to 430. This is hot, but it's not like real hot. And you can see here, it is chewing through power. So obviously you're not going to be toasting stuff for a long time, but you know, if you really want some toast, you could make it happen. Sounds kind of like a jet engine. So yeah, we made toast. That's a tall order to run a toaster on one of these small solar generator or battery units. If it didn't have that power lift mode, there's no way it would do it. I tried plugging it in without the power lift on, and it just immediately cuts power once it senses it's over 600. It's actually pretty helpful that it has that power lift mode. That's kind of cool feature. So the power lift mode is pretty cool that it will let you, if you have a non-computer controlled device, you can get some use out of it. It's not going to be as efficient as if it was on a full 110 power circuit with unlimited amperage, but this will give you the ability to at least use that item and not be completely without it. Now I want to get into a topic on this that I feel is really important on the prepping side of things, and that is charging it. Now, I mentioned before, the big thing with those other two generators that we have is that if there's no gasoline, they're not getting charged and they're completely useless to us. They're essentially a boat anchor. And if we were in a situation where we had to bug out to another location, we could take those things with us, but if there wasn't gas where we were going, we would be robbing from the vehicle that we were driving to get to that location. And then even if we did get to that location and we had fuel for the generator, those things are loud. I mean, the Coleman much more so than the inverter generator, the Predator. And if that's the case, you're going to be drawing attention to yourself. Where this thing really shines is in its ability to be essentially covert. Charging it, you can obviously charge it right off a wall outlet. It's got that port right here where you can plug a 110 cord into it. But it also has inputs for solar panels and charging off of a car battery. This little port right here will take 12 to 28 volts at 8.5 max amp. So right there, you're talking any 12 to 28 volt DC source that you have, whether it's a car battery, your car's cigarette lighter, you have a 24 volt system on a piece of equipment or a semi, and that's a protected circuit as well. It's got a circuit breaker right there. So you don't have to worry if you do have a spike of frying this thing, it's going to protect itself. But you're now talking about an almost silent system which has the ability to throw 12 volts out in multiple configurations. You have USB ports, you've got a USB-C, you've got two 110 outlets there that are grounded, even though they're not really grounded, but they have spots for your grounding plugs. You've got a light, I forgot to mention that. Ta-da! Light with 3 brightnesses, 1, 2, and then an SOS. And then you've got your wireless charging right up on top there. I will put a link to Bluetti's website down below in the description. That'll have all the technical specs. Honestly, I'm not a super electrical oriented guy. I know that amps time voltage gives me watts. You don't want to touch the hot one and the ground at the same time. You don't really want to just touch the hot one at all, but I know that if you are going to touch the hot one, don't touch the ground. I'm really pleasantly surprised though at this thing. I kind of felt like this sort of thing was going to be a little bit hokey, and why would you buy something like this over just a standard battery bank that you could charge and just keep on hand? I'm really seeing the benefits of having a system like this, and I'm happy that Bluetti was able to send it out to me and let me check it out and test it, because I think I might be buying the solar panels next for it. Right now, this is on sale. The retail price on this is $299.99. I think right now on sale it's $219.99 if you're watching this video within within recently of when it came out. Anyway, click that link down in the description below, and that'll take you to Bluetti's website. It'll show you all the tech specs. They've got them all listed there. So thanks to Bluetti for sponsoring this video. I am going to head back inside and warm up because it is frigid out here right now. It's probably like 22 degrees. So thank you to Bluetti for sponsoring this video. If you want to learn more about this particular unit, or if you want to see the other units that Bluetti offers for sale, there is a link down in the description. If you want to see more of what we're doing here on the farm, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, I thank you for watching, and I hope you're having a great day. Bye.